Welcome to the Unshakeable Talks with me, Katy. This is where we lift the lid on what entrepreneurs are really going through. The struggles, the myths, the mistakes, and the things we've been sold to. This is where we talk about how we balance business and life. This isn't another podcast teaching strategy. This is where we talk about the raw, real truth about female entrepreneurship and what it really means to run a business and life and combine both of them together. Running a business as a woman isn't harder, it's just different. And it's time we talk about this. There is no cap on what we can achieve, because behind every business, there's the stuff no one dares to talk out loud. Welcome to today's guest episode with the amazing Jenna O'Keefe. Jenna is an amazing sales and business mentor with over a decade of high-level marketing experience. And she's the woman of one of the most sought-after mastermind in the industry. Her unique blend of expertise and genuine passion of her client's success has positioned her as the go-to mentor for every entrepreneur trying to scale their business with intention, clarity, and undeniable authority. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for coming on the Unshakeable Talks.
Thank you so much for having me. What a studio. This is incredible.
We try. Jenna, you have decades of experience working in a leading marketing agencies.
Yes.
So what pulled you to entrepreneurship? What was the point where you decided you're done with creating campaigns for other people and you want to do your own business? Can you talk us through this a little bit?
Yeah, I loved working in marketing agencies. I loved working client side. I think the cool thing about that is you never really knew what brief was going to land on your desk. I was doing brand campaigns for bars in Brixton. Then I would have a donkey charity land on my desk and I'd have to get into the headspace of marketing for a donkey charity and how do those type of people that give to donkey charities think. And that was so much fun, but it was so fast paced. Mm-hmm. So I always loved the variety of it. But do you know what, the best bit of my job and the thing that I really, really excelled at was the people management side. Mm-hmm. I was confidence coaching. I actually did my first coaching qualification maybe in 2014. I did one through work. Mm-hmm. And people used to say to me oh my God, you make me feel so confident. And I could really see that in it was marketing. So a lot of my team were girls. I could really see that with the girls that I was working with. And, that's where I kind of thought, you know what, I could make this work. But ironically, the thing that stopped me was confidence. That's what kept me in the 9 to 5 for so long. I never felt like I was following all these life coaches, and life coaching wasn't really a thing. It was a thing in the US, but it wasn't really a thing here yet. And it was kind of well, it's not really a thing here. It's not really it's not really a verified path. And so when COVID hit in 2020, I was burnt out. I feel majority of people that work in advertising agencies are burnt out. Mm-hmm. I'm yet to meet somebody that is absolutely thriving and feeling really, really energized, because it is such a hard, fast-paced job. And I was doing huge pitches for 7-figure accounts, 8-figure accounts. It's a lot of pressure. So when COVID hit, that's when I was cool, this is the time to kind of do something else. And I originally actually paid for a yoga teaching qualification. Oh. Because in my soul, I wanted to do life coaching, but I was so terrified and I was right, I'm just going to be a yoga teacher instead. And then maybe I can do life coaching after. So I paid for that before COVID was about to start. COVID hit. And then that's when I actually signed with my first life coach then when COVID hit. And we were talking and she kind of reflected back to me, I think you want to be a life coach, don't you? And I was yeah, I really do. I really, really do. I want to take everything that I'm really good at with management and I want to build a business for that. Mm-hmm. And that's when I started getting involved in the online space and seeing more and more women talk about money. And that started to open me up a little bit where I was oh, maybe this could be for me. Maybe I could do it. So I dipped my toe in and I realized I was really, really good at it. So I started as a confidence coach because I kind of wanted to leave the marketing behind me a little bit, just to have a bit of a break. But that's how I really jumped in. And I jumped in. I was right, let's go. I finished my qualification 2 months early and I emailed the school and I was I have been doing this nonstop. Like, I will show you, like, in the assessment how much work I have done, but you need to approve me 2 months early because I'm ready to go. So they said yes. They marked my coaching qualification, all good to go. I was refreshing my emails every day to see if I had passed. I passed, and then I did my masterclass the next day.
Next day?
Yeah. Pitched, sold 5 spots onto my first coaching container, which was £2,750. I was like, I said the price and I was like shaking as I said it. And 5 people said yes. And honestly, from there, I was like, right, let's go.
That did wonders for your confidence, didn't it?
I don't think you ever forget the first time that someone says yes. And I didn't have a way for her to pay me yet. Like, she said yes, and I was like, fuck, how do I take payment? Oh my God. So then, and I remember I didn't have anything for onboarding. So I think I stayed up like 3-4 hours later, like just trying to get all of this stuff done for onboarding, because I didn't think anyone would say yes that quickly. And I remember I went and saw my mum and dad, who both have their own businesses, and I was literally in tears and I cried and I was like, someone just said yes, my first paying client. And I don't think you ever forget that feeling where you're like, wow, someone's actually going to pay me to do something I love. Yeah. And I still remember that. It's the best feeling ever. And I think we forget that. I think, it's so easy once, the sales start coming in and, business starts to get busy and you get 10 clients, you get 20, then you get 30, then you get 50, then you get 100. Like, it's so easy to forget the magic of that feeling. But it's something that honestly, I always try and come back to again and again, because every single time that someone pays me, like, that is them committing, like, that's them trusting me to get them a result. And that's special. So that was a little bit about my journey.
I think it's also very important to remember this, is because business goes ups and downs, ups and downs. So when you're always riding that wave of being on a high level and you don't really appreciate where you come from almost. Yeah. When it then does dip, it's hard, isn't it? It hits you hard. And it's so important to remember where you came from. Yeah. And I still remember that moment, and I think it's super, 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 super special.
I saw a really beautiful post that said, I might not be where I want to be yet, but I'm exactly where I wanted to be 5 years ago, and that's all that matters. And it's so true. Like, if I could look back on 2020, I remember I had like a little post-it note, and I made a vision board, and I just put 10K months on this, and like that at the time felt so unbelievably audacious, so like, I could not imagine making that much money in 4 weeks. And I mean, to what I make now and the success that I've had since, I never even would have dreamed, like, I would be happy with a quarter of what I've ever had, So I think it's so easy in those moments, maybe if someone says no, or maybe if somebody's rude or trolls you, or, attacks your business or whatever, it's easy to think, oh God. But actually, if you remember where you were 5 years ago, you're like, wow, it puts it into perspective.
So for me, listening to this, when you obviously left marketing because you were burned out and you wanted to become a life coach, ended up doing the confidence coaching, stepping almost away from the marketing side, because this is what made you at the time not well. You burned out, you were overstretched and weren't really happy probably within yourself. So you chose the confident route. But you almost went full circle now, didn't you? Because you're right back off where you started, just differently. So that transition, the original pivot to transitioning to going back to what you're really passionate about and what you're good at, and feeding all of this in, because confidence is a big part of marketing, isn't it?
Yes.
And huge. The way you teach, and I'm part of your mastermind, so we speak about this in a little bit. Yeah. I can really see this, like, confidence is a big part of your teaching.
I think, like, it doesn't matter what you say, it matters how you make people feel. And if you are not truly grounded and believing what you are telling people, that energy comes through, right? So that's why marketing and confidence is such a big piece. And when I reflect back on my journey, it's actually crazy. The stuff that I do now is exactly what I was doing in 2015 when I was managing a team. Like, the first time I ever managed a team was at Macmillan Cancer Support. So that was like my first big marketing job. And what I used to do there, I always love the luxury. I love surprising people, and I love expanding people so that they see what's possible for them. And I remember like one of my meetings, I said, do you know what? I'm just going to message the Shard and just see if we can have a meeting up there. And I pulled like the Macmillan card. We're a charity.
Yeah.
So then I took all of my team to this meeting room at the top of the Shard. I messaged loads of brands to get them to sponsor us with snacks and stuff like that. And, you know, that we weren't just talking about marketing. It was about putting yourself in an expansive environment, which in charities people don't do. That's just not really a thing in charity marketing, right? So, and that I was innovating in that space. But actually, when I think about what I do now, it's exactly the same. Like when we went to Mykonos, taking my clients to a really incredible space where they can get creative, where they can innovate, where they can see themselves as a bigger version of what they are doing now. And you have to get out of your own environment to do that. So yeah, like that confidence piece, you will only ever be as successful as your mind lets you be.
Yeah.
You can't create results if you don't truly believe that you deserve them.
That is so true. And actually putting yourself into those expansive environments is so important. I say all the time, you need to up-level your environment if you want to reach new levels. And attending retreats or being in masterminds is one way of doing this. And you do this incredibly well. You have, you're running one of the most sought after mastermind in the industry. I just resigned, and I resigned for a reason. Yes. So you're doing this extremely well. So I want to talk a little bit about this because I want the listeners really to hear how much work you're putting into your mastermind. So there's so many from a customer's point, there's so many different women in there. I don't feel like when I signed up the first time to your mastermind, I felt like I was right in the beginning kind of my online career and online business. And I felt quite intimidated. I remember I written in the application, I know I'm not there yet, but
I remember.
Something along those lines. And it felt extremely stretchy for me because I felt like, I'm probably going to be the smallest fish in the room. And can I bring something to the table? But actually, yes, I was quite small compared to other people because most people had everything set up online. I wasn't at that point because I was doing everything offline at that point. But you made me feel incredibly confident, and everyone, what I've noticed, is completely different starting points, different businesses, which is really interesting. But I feel we're all getting the same out of the mastermind. And I want you to tell the listener a little bit about how you do this. Like, what are your main focuses? How do you manage so many different women and different desires for their businesses as well?
I think this is a really good question because I think so many people listening are probably thinking, how do I create an industry-leading product? And whenever I create anything, the mastermind included, I try and ignore everything I know about how other people do it because I think we're so ingrained, and I see this all of the time in the industry where people are like, oh, well, that person does it like that, so I just have to do that. And what happens is it just kills innovation, and it's just not, people don't get results if you're not really, really intentional about every single stage in there. So everything in the mastermind is intentional. And I think I run a space that is like my dream space. So I love consulting. I love being in people's businesses. I love truly understanding the figures. Like, consultancy is like my dream. I love that. And so that's why I was like, cool, let's create my mastermind so it's like a consultancy. So I know all of your businesses, I know all of your products, I know all of your price points. So you're not getting on a call and having to update the mentor over and okay, so this was my product. Because when I was in masterminds, I felt really frustrated when I was doing that because I just felt like I was wasting time saying the same thing over and over again. And I felt like we were never building upon the conversation. So I think for anybody that's thinking about how do I create an industry leading product, firstly, tap into, if you could have your dream job or if you could serve your dream clients and you were audacious enough to truly go for that, what would that space look like? What type of support would they be getting? How would they feel as they are moving through the space? Because essentially you're not creating a product, you are creating an experience. And this is where so many people get lost. And I know this from clients that I mentor as well. They jump and they're like, okay, so where should I price this? And it's like, we've not talked about the experience. We've not talked about the transformation. We don't know, we haven't got that insight yet. So like pricing comes like last, right? Yeah. We only talk about pricing right at the end once that experience is locked in. And I think it's also about not being afraid to change and shift a space.
Yeah.
So if people are already in it, don't be afraid to change it. Don't be afraid to add things in, to take things out, right? Like I think building that trust and that rapport with your clients will always trust you that you have their best interests at heart, and you have the interests of the container at heart, right? Like it is your job to make sure that that container is continuously thriving. So how can you continue to surprise and delight your clients? Which surprising and delighting isn't just about going above and beyond and being available all the time, because actually that's not really what your clients want. Your clients want those little moments where it's like, oh, that was so lovely. I really feel seen here. Oh, that was such an amazing experience. And when you are creating a space, well, it's not about you, right? Like, how are you connecting other women? How are you tapping into, if other women are feeling really isolated, how are you connecting the community together? Because a lot of the value, it doesn't have to just sit with you as the mentor, like as you know yourself from being in the space.
Yeah.
A lot of the value is just the connections and the conversations that you have between each other and the relationships that you build together. That's priceless.
And I must say, I have built some great relationships with the girls. And you do, I want to come back to not being afraid to innovate, because you do this really well. We have this all the time on the court where all of us have a certain kind of expectations of how we want our products to look like or what we want to do, and all of us are playing small all the time. We all kind of are scared to make a little change. And I'm not going to name anyone, but I remember like this, one of the ladies has 2 incredible products in place, and she was like trying to decide between the 2 of them, and you were like, no, you don't have to. And I feel like you ground us very well and bring the best out of us, and you do this very quick. It's like instant. We don't need a half an hour conversation to do that. It's so natural, it's instant. You do this really well. And our industries don't even match up. Like we are completely different. Everyone is so different. But what would you say is the most common flaw, difficulty you see in the female entrepreneurs who come to you? What are their, where do we fall short the most?
There is such a huge fear of failure, and you cannot innovate without failure. So for me, the reason why I innovate so quick is, and the reason why I get to things quickly, there's no ego there, right? Like you girls know, you have watched me launch things and they're flopped. I don't care. I'm giving you that insight. I literally don't care. The whole thing is about, I see my job as like test. We'll win 50% of the time. Great. We'll take those 50%, then we'll dial them in. That's genuinely how I think, because
you love a test.
I love a test. I love a test, and I love failing, right? Like,
yes, you do.
I genuinely believe, like, we have so many conversations in the mastermind where it's, oh, but what if nobody buys at that price? Oh, but what if nobody says yes? But what if I fail? What if it flops? Well, fucking get back up and do it again. Like, make it better, right? Like, and that is always my response. You're not going to die.
It really is.
Like, we were talking about this on the retreat, and it's something from my corporate career. When I left my corporate career, a saying that I always say is like, well, nobody died. Like, and so my old team got me a little coaster, and it's still on my desk now, where it's like, well, nobody died. Like, I have had hundreds of failed launches, hundreds of flopped posts, thousands of people that have said no and rejected the offer. But if you haven't done the work to not care about that, not care if somebody ghosts you, not care if somebody thinks you're a dick and goes and, does whatever, if you're still holding on to that, that will always halt your innovation, because you will never truly innovate, because it's a bit like, like on those Saturday night TV shows where they used to have like the bungee ropes around their waist, and they would run and they would ping back. It's like that, right? So you have to be okay with failure first. And I think that's like the one, if the women that I worked with and if female entrepreneurs healed their fear of failure and saw it differently, the landscape would look very, very different.
Did you ever find yourself in this position where you had to really look at this for you? Was failure ever a fear of yours?
I mean, of course, to some extent, but I have failed hard and fast at things. And I think like the one, I don't know if you were in my world when this happened, but maybe about 3 or 4 years ago when I was doing confidence coaching only, I started to go really viral on TikTok with dating content. Have I ever told you about this?
I think you mentioned it, but I haven't seen it now.
So I did 6 weeks. I was a dating coach for 6 weeks. Right?
6 weeks? Whole weeks?
Yeah. So I started to go really viral on TikTok with like relationship content. And I was like, oh, this is interesting. Classic me. Created a product, launched it. And I had about 700 people that were on this free masterclass. I was like, awesome. I'm going to be fucking rich off the back of this. I'm going to love it. This is going to be amazing. I love coaching my friends on dating. This is going to be awesome. I launched it and it was the most traumatic launch, mainly because there were thousands of DMs on my TikTok. Oh my God, my boyfriend just dumped me. What do I do? People just trauma dumping on me. I hated it. When I say I hated it, like I have never hated anything more than that 6 weeks in my business. Failed so hard. I think I made like 600 quid from this launch. Absolute failure. And I was just like, wow. And I remember Tom came home and I was just sitting at the kitchen table and he was like, how's it going, babe? And I literally cried and I was just like, this feels so hard. And he was like, do you know what? I do not think that you can get lower than this. So it's literally up from here. And I was like, do you know what? That was such a catastrophic failure. I don't think I will ever fail that hard again. But if I do, well, I'll just pick myself back up again. Yeah, like, I think one message that I want to get to all of your listeners is you are a smart woman. You are smart. You are a problem solver. You have been through so much. Trust me when I say, even if like your worst case scenario, your biggest fear happens in your business, you'll be okay. Yeah. I promise you. And actually, I kind of hope that your worst fear, the worst possible thing happens to you because you'll realize, oh, fuck, that wasn't that bad. I went to bed. I went to bed with my partner. I woke up the next day. The world kept turning. Yeah. It didn't matter.
It's so important to fail. I see failing as research.
Yeah. 100%.
Obviously there was a time where I really struggled with the fear of failure. I'm not going to lie. But once I kind of switched my mindset to research and just learning out of failure, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah. And you start to get like, it starts to get a bit like sadistic because you kind of love it in the end and you're like, like if people say no, I'm like, oh, they said no? Okay, what else do they need? Like, how can I, right? Nothing is ever that serious. And I think it feels so serious because when you're building a personal brand, especially, client relationships break apart or you receive criticism or something is taken the wrong way and you made a mistake, right? Like it hurts. But I'm never going to let that stop me. I might have a day where I just need to lick my wounds a little bit and then, let's move on. Let's keep going.
What I really would like to talk to you about is your 2025 years. You had a huge year, not just in business, also privately.
Yes.
We saw you getting married. Yeah. We saw you attending weddings, going on honeymoon, scaling your followers to, I don't know, I believe it's now 50,000 and in January when this episode airs, I bet you it's at least 100,000.
I hope so.
I bet it is. And it was 10,000 at the beginning of the year or something?
Yeah, in July.
You scaled your following massively. I obviously know the incredible products you created and teach people to do that. But we all know scaling comes with a lot of pressure and a lot of nervous system regulations which need to be done to actually be able to hold this.
Yes.
Because expansion doesn't feel safe, naturally.
No, it actually doesn't feel very good. It does not.
It doesn't, even if you're not afraid to fail, but there's so much. And how did you do this? Like, how can you, because you're always happy, and I know some people may think you're not and you're faking it, but I know you're always happy. I've seen you in so many different spaces. You are always happy, and things seem to be coming easy to you in terms of how you handle it. So how do you do it?
I think like I think people would probably watch this and secretly there's a part of them where they're like, they're wanting my answer to be, oh, behind the scenes, it's really hard. Behind the scenes, it's really hard. Like, you know, and, you know, maybe people won't like my answer, but I get up, I do the fucking work, I take the good days, I take the bad days, and I keep moving. Like, I have such a clear vision, and I always have done. Like, when I started this business, although I felt nervous and I didn't quite have the same audacity that I have now, I have always known that I'm going to be wildly, hugely successful. Like, maybe that sounds arrogant and, you know, that just is what it is. But I know that there's something in me where I'm like, I can do this. I know I can. It might take me, you know, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever. But I know that I can make stuff happen. And so 2025 for me was the year that really, really landed. And how did I make it happen? I think, do you know what? Like the first quarter was actually a pretty sleepy quarter for me. You know, things were just kind of like ticking along as they always do. We hit Q1 and then I went to LA and I went to my first retreat. And so my mentor, Danielle, who is just absolutely incredible. She's one of like the biggest leaders in the space. Super established. She takes us to like a $20 million villa in LA. I'm a little girl from Hertfordshire. Like, I love my luxuries, but wow, you know, you're walking into this space. I don't know if you spent a lot of time in America and specifically LA, but the doors are fucking huge, right? So you're walking in this house and it's like the biggest door I've ever seen. And I'm like, what is this? Oh my God. And these are like houses that you've seen on like Selling Sunsets or, you know, something like that. And honestly, it did something where I was like, in my mind, I think we're so good at visioning what we want. Oh, I want a business where I travel. I want to be serving, you know, 20, 30 clients. I want to be making this much money. But I think so many people stay, and myself included at the beginning of the year, stay in the like the pipe dream energy where they're like, one day. And when I landed in LA, something happened internally where it's like, I get to just do that shit. Like, okay, you want to travel for business? Fucking travel for business then. Book onto some business retreats. Nobody's going to come knocking at your door like, hey, Jenna, can I just like pay you to, you know, fly over to the States and speak at my event? Nobody's going to do that. Like, it's just, if you're waiting for that, you're going to be waiting a long fucking time and everybody else in your industry is going to be leapfrogging you while you're waiting. So that's where I just started to get intentional. And I was like, what do I want my business to look like? And that's where I started to think, wow, you know, like if I could make anything happen, I'd be flying my clients to Greece. Greece is such a special place for me. Like, I mean, you know, the magic of like Mykonos when we were there, I'd be taking my clients to Greece. I'd be giving my clients this experience. I would be giving them the best week in their business that they've ever had. Cool. What do? You go and do it. Landed, booked the deposit on a villa that felt audacious that I probably couldn't afford. But I was like, fuck it, book now, let's go, right? So how did I make it work? How did I make it happen? I just kept pushing forward. I kept driving forward. But, you know, all from a place of passion and energy. Like, I'm incredibly resilient. So, yeah, and I suppose how do I build that resilience? I'm kind to myself. You know, if I fuck up, I fuck up. If I get it wrong, if I have a failed launch, if I lose loads of money, okay, cool. I'm not going to hate myself for it. I'm going to pick myself up. And I think when you have that safety with yourself, when you allow yourself time, when you stop, you know, berating your own results or berating where you are or comparing yourself to other people who to you feel more successful than you, when you stop doing all of that shit, you just have so much more time, energy, right? Like, I'm so in my lane. Like, obviously I know like other industries, other industry experts and things like that. I don't get involved in gossip. I don't really like have a lot of like other people that do what I do on my following or anything like that. I'm in my own lane. And so because I knew time was so finite this year, like, I mean, I've been on like 13 international trips this year. You know, I got married. My best friend got married. My brother-in-law got married. You know, it's been a big year. I didn't have time for any of the other bullshit. I didn't have time for the comparison. I didn't have time for any of that. I was like, cool, let's just fucking grab 2025 by the balls and have the best time. Maybe we fall, maybe we fail, maybe we fly. And I mean,
we flew.
Yeah.
And there's a few points I really want to touch up on what you just said. One is being kind to yourself.
Yes.
And I think a lot of women in particular, and I know this from the women I work with, what we tend to do is we have a vision for our business and we pour everything into our business.
Yeah.
But we forget ourselves by this. So we are not really, a lot of us are not really kind to ourselves until we come to the point where we have to apply this kindness.
Yes.
And you just saying that this is one of the things you're doing is really important, because this is what I'm so passionate about.
Yeah.
And this then also goes back to the expansion piece. You're putting yourself into an environment which expands you.
Yes.
And people really underestimate this, because what that retreat did to you is that trickles down to people like me who are in your world, because you're giving me the opportunity to be in this expansive environment, because you've been there, you saw the value, you showed up for yourself, you put yourself out of your comfort zone to evolve and grow and expand your business, and you're trickling it down to the people in your world. And I think the only way to do this is if you have high standards for yourself. And we speak about our princess energy all the time.
Yeah, we do.
We did that on the retreat. And I've just recorded another episode about this, because women are often seen as demanding or high maintenance. But actually, I think we need to really embrace this part of ourselves, because it trickles down to everyone around us.
100%. You have to, whether people like it or not, you have to be a bit selfish. Like,
absolutely.
If you want to be successful, if you look at all like the super successful male entrepreneurs, they don't give a fuck what anyone thinks about them. They don't give a fuck about taking time for themselves. And there's a reason why they're successful, because they prioritize their own needs. And as women, you know, we have been so conditioned not to do that. And you have to do a lot of unlearning. Yeah. And you have to just, you know, audaciously be like, I've got a spa membership. Yeah, I go to a 5-star luxury spa twice a week. You know, that might make people think, oh, who does she think she is? But the reason why I have to do that is because I would not have the same level of creativity. Like, my creativity and my energy is everything. Yeah. So many people, and we talk about this with your work all the time, Katy, in terms of so many people will drop 20K on a celebrity coach in America to get this magic strategy, when, you know, they won't drop 10K on building out their identity. Yeah. And it's like, wow, you don't understand. If you spent the money on your identity, you would make any fucking strategy work. Yeah. You would take a 5K strategy and turn it into a 1 million strategy because you would believe in yourself. Yeah. It's not the strategy. It's how you feel about yourself internally. Absolutely. And that's why your work is so essential. Like, so essential. Like, that's the first piece, right? You're not gonna make any strategy work if you don't believe you're worthy of it.
It's the foundation of everything, isn't it? I always say, you're not building a house and putting the roof on first. Yeah. And if you, as a woman, this is what I believe, enter the space of entrepreneurship. Yeah. You've got what it takes. You've got the grit. You've got the vision. You want better for yourself. You want different. Yeah. So all of those attributes you have already. You just need to be able to be that person who can actually follow through and do that.
Yeah, and even if you think of, like, the success of your business is made up of hundreds of micro decisions. Yeah. And if you are filtering those decisions through a lens that does not feel worthy, you know, like, you know, you've heard the analogy of like a plane when it's like 1 degree off and then it ends up like 1,000 miles away from its destination. Like, that's the impact. And that's why those foundations are so, like, get your foundations in place first so that you know that you're on the right track, and how that filters through in all of your decision making. Like, back to the 2025 year, there's no way, because all of those little micro moments, no, I'm not going to try trial reels, they're never going to work for me. No, I'm not going to I'm not going to host an event in Greece because nobody will come. You know, like, do you see how, like, all of those little things, if you don't believe in yourself, you can never have an audacious year. No. Because it doesn't happen by accident. It comes from all of those micro decisions, but you have to make sure that you are filtering through them lens of, I can't fail. And if I fail, fuck it, who cares?
Fuck it, get up and do it again.
Exactly.
It's like people tend to look at the end goal. They look at you and think, oh, look what she has achieved.
It's all right for her. She's got all these followers.
Yeah.
Right,
she's at a spa again.
Yeah.
Here she comes. But it's the journey. It's the journey getting there. No one is really interested, because that's actually quite hard to actually look at yourself and actually say, oh, maybe we need to work on X, Y, Z.
It's so confronting.
It's very confronting.
Especially when you're dealing with heavy emotions like shame, rejection, you know, if your partner maybe doesn't really get what you're doing. I've always been very lucky. I know you're the same. Like my husband is just so supportive. I remember when I first got my qualification, he was like, I don't really get it, but fine. Yeah. And even still now, he's like,
the same.
I don't really get it, but cool. Like, happy for you, proud of you.
I'm taking him to an event, actually. Well, when this airs, he would have come. And I had to say to him, it's like, I'm a bit worried. And he's like, why, Katy? I'm coming to support you. He's going to die. He is absolutely going to die, because it's...
I would love to take Tom to an event.
It's so different to what he's doing. It's like, it's so weird in a way to what he is doing, but he's come to support me, so he doesn't understand necessarily what's going on to the fine. I mean, ask him for a software or something, he will give me the best one out there. But and I think that's quite good. But we also attract men like this because we are having those high standards for ourselves.
100%.
We don't allow people around us to get away and put us down with behavior or boundary pushing and all of this. And that's a big skill. Friendships as well,
when you start to really see that success come in, your friendship dynamics will change, and there will be people that stay with you, your lifers, that you could be making. I mean, like my best friend Eve, who came and supported me on the event. I mean,
we loved Eve.
She's just the best, best friend. Been best friends for like 20 years. I mean, she doesn't really get it. I think she gets it now more after the retreat. But in the early days, she's like, I don't really get it. And I message her like, oh my god, I just made 10 grand this month. She's like, wow, go on, babe, like get it. Whereas other people, like, when you have success, that really mirrors back to them.
It's very triggering, isn't it?
Uncomfortable feelings. And so not every friendship is going to last the test of time, and it's not meant to. But who you surround yourself with is also a really, really important part of the puzzle. Because if you're surrounding yourself with people with low ceilings, it's going to be very difficult to break through.
It's so important to surround yourself with people who match your level and your vision.
Yeah, and like
they don't have to understand it.
Up a bit, right?
Just support.
Like if you surround, like the easiest, fastest way to like absolutely explode is to get in a room where you are the smallest fish, because you won't be the smallest fish for very long. It's like the mastermind that I'm in, for instance, walked in as an absolute baby in April, like. Even called my dad on the way in, like, shit, like, I can't believe I'm going. And dad's like, you get in there and you hold your head up high. And I'm like, okay.
Now we know where it's coming from.
And like, the second event, Danielle's like, hey babe, like, will you come and speak and run through all the visibility piece? And I did like a 60-minute workshop in a $20 million villa in Bel Air and warmed up for Alicia Nobrega, the same stage that Jay Shetty was on. That's in like 6 fucking months, right? Like if you're not putting yourself in those environments, you're never going to get the opportunities ever.
No, that's true. So with all of this in mind, what is next for Jenna?
I think more of the same. So 2026 for me, I'm in the process of like strategizing at the moment. What comes when your business explodes is everything starts breaking, but in a really good way. So for me, it's probably less of like the sexy stuff, but for me, it's like systems, team. How could we, if we wanted to like double the revenue, double the amount of clients, how could we make that work while still maintaining the integrity of the products, while still maintaining that incredible experience that I'm known for and the brand is known for? So that's really what's coming up for me next year. I think I also want I want to just play around with it. Like, how can we double the revenue but half the work? Like, how is that possible? How are we, how am I making my spaces more intentional so that consultancy piece, that work goes even deeper? with fewer people, but I'm bumping up the revenue from elsewhere. So that's strategically like what I'm thinking about for next year, which is really, really exciting. Like a really different season of business.
Yeah.
I think like you get to a certain level where it's like balls to the wall, let's go. And then you're forced to start thinking a different way and to start get way more intentional. So that's kind of what's coming up for me in 2026.
And I think because you have this attitude, you have an enormous client retention.
Yes, huge.
Because obviously when we sign up to programs, there comes a point where you have learned everything, where you got everything out of a program you could potentially get out of. So if your mentor isn't innovating the space, you naturally would drop off, wouldn't you? You would just leave. So will there be another retreat?
Definitely. So we've got our next retreat in May. And I mean, like, we're going bigger, we're going better, we're going more luxury.
How exciting.
I know. Eve and I were looking at villas, and she was kind of helping me just looking for the villa. And I was like, she was sending me once, and I was like, babe, there's no panoramic view of the sea. Like,
this is non-negotiable, remember?
It's non-negotiable. She's like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, oh my God. So, bigger, better, like more intentional. I learned so much from the first retreat. I mean, I was so happy. All of the questionnaires came back like 10 out of 10, which I was so for your first event, for your first international retreat, I was just so blown away by that. But I'm really thinking about, okay, I've learned so much. How do we make it even better? So the next retreat is in Crete in May. Absolutely beautiful, stunning venue, like even bigger, even better. Incredible guest speakers that I'm inquiring about. So yeah, it's going to be really, really exciting.
Well, I'm super excited.
I can't wait.
I will definitely be there.
Of course.
That's for sure.
Of course.
I want to wrap up this episode with the question I asked everyone.
Yeah.
If you could give your younger self one piece of brutally honest advice about business, what would that be?
Okay, so I think when I was kind of naive to business, I believed that there was an invisible hierarchy. And I felt like you had to stay in your own zone. There was like the super coaches, the mid coaches, the baby coaches. And I believed that you had to work your way up. Maybe from corporate, maybe that was like an inherent belief. If I could go back and speak to Jenna in 2021, say, when she was trying to scale, I would be like, they're no fucking different to you. In fact, like, looking at your results, you're actually better. Like, the quality of your work is better. Like the client results that you are creating is better. Be more audacious. Stop putting yourself at the bottom of the pile. Like, stop walking into every room like you're like a little baby fish, right? Even if you are, like, walk into that room like you've got something that people want to buy. Like, everybody in that room needs to hire you. That's how you need to walk into a room. Like, that's what I would go back and tell her. And anyone listening to this, you know, like, I know there's lots of events coming up which are really, really exciting. We were talking about them before, which I'm really, really proud of. Like, the UK industry is really changing, and I'm so proud of that. And, you know, there's lots of events coming up. So if anyone is listening to this and you have an event booked, just take a little 5 minutes before you go into that event. Roll your shoulders back, keep your chin up, walk into that fucking room like you have something to sell, and like people are going to be paying you thousands and thousands of pounds, and see what happens.
Thank you, Jenna. That's
Thank
the
you.
best way to end this.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you've been feeling stuck or disconnected from the woman behind your business, this is your sign. The Identity Shakeup is my new free audio, a short, powerful reset to help you to get clear on the person who you've become and the person your business needs next. Head to the link in the show notes to access it today.